Typically, January is a pretty strong month for metals. So what are you expecting in January and for the rest of the year as we enter 2022?
Well, I think 2022 will be a volatile year with big moves in both directions. I think that silver will find its footing in 2022. January, as you mentioned, is usually one of the strongest months. We tend to see a rally that goes through until early February as the first portion of that, and then some retracement, and then an attempt to go through into April. And finally, when we get to June, that's usually whatever we get for the first half takes place and is kind of exhausted itself by then. If we haven't seen it break out above $50 by then, maybe a challenge, then we go into the summer doldrums. This year, I think it'll be a broad sideways to slightly higher motion while we try to get into the August double bottom that silver and the miners tend to see, and then we will see a strong fall. So I really think that either silver goes through 50 the first time this spring, or more than likely it goes through in the fall leading into 2023, which would make it the fourth attempt at $50. And the fourth attempt is usually a successful move on the chart. So that's kind of my big picture look. And it's a little bit risky sometimes to talk price and time, but I just have a sense that 2022 is going to be a pivotal year finally for the metals and the miners. Silver, it will continue coiling and move upward and break out above $30. That will be when everybody really starts paying attention. And of course, if you wait for $30, you've already missed $8 from where we are now. So I don't encourage people to try to put on their positions after that happens. I mean, it's fine to add something that's going in the right direction to what you have, but if you're sitting there with little or no physical metal and you haven't done the research on the mining stocks you want to have, you're going to leave a third of that move at least behind if you wait for the charts to kind of confirm what you already think might happen. So that's my suggestion.
And I know on the physical side, I mean, if we look at our inventory at Miles Franklin, we've been seeing a lot of these sovereign minted coins, a lot of people purchasing those, and the premiums have been increasing recently, just in the last week or so. Your perspective on where those premiums are going to go in the future, and also the kind of availability and shortages we're going to see in 2022.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information, and it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
I started looking at the fractional coins. I don't know if you would call them sovereign coins, it's the ones that used to circulate in Europe, the French francs and the Swiss francs. That have about a little less than a quarter of an ounce of gold in them. And the premiums then were around 3 to 4%. And a few weeks ago, I looked again and I was considering buying some, and they were around 8%. And of course, the fractionals and the full ounce coins like the gold, the Maple Leaf and the American Gold Eagle, their premiums are fairly elevated as well, too, especially on the fractionals. They seem to be kind of hard to find nowadays. Maybe there'll be more in the spring. But I was looking at some of those as well, and I was surprised at how strong that premium was. Are you seeing that sort of thing in the fractionals as well?
Definitely. I mean, typically fractional bullion is going to be a lot higher premium than the 1 ounce size or larger than that. As you get to larger sizes, obviously the premiums do fall.
Right. And I understand that, the year before last, India bought relatively little silver compared to what they normally do. And this year, in the latter part of this year, they purchased 40 million ounces. So that's a pretty significant jump. And I think we're going to see that continued strength going on. And then with the wedding season coming up in the new year for China in terms of gold purchase and also silver. So I think we're going to see a pretty steady drain down on the physical supply around the globe. And the Europeans are really getting it now that they need to buy some more metal because, they've increased the premiums over there, and also the reporting levels have decreased. Just a few years ago, they were around $5,000 in Germany, and I think now they're under $2,000. So if you want to have a little privacy, there's no point in waiting until it becomes 500 for a reporting level, that's for sure. Early last year, I wrote an essay, and then I followed it up with one just last month at Money Metals discussing this. I never did believe we were looking at transitory inflation. I thought it would be very similar to what I personally experienced as well. David Morgan did too. We didn't know each other then, but we were both involved in the metals. And the inflation was higher than anticipated, and it lasted right up to the end of the decade when Paul Volcker raised rates, to kind of commensurate with the inflation, which was running as high as 16 to 18%.
I have bad news for you. If you're not rich by now, you're screwed. And if you're in debt, you're even double screwed. How so, you might wonder? Well, the sad truth is that you're working your whole life to make someone else rich. The mega corporations, the banks, the politicians, everyone is getting richer. They get your money. And what is even worse, they get your time, they get your life. You are not even in a rat race, you're in a financial prison. But what could a solution for you look like? Honestly, I don't know, but I know what a solution for me would look like. It's very simple. I use whatever money I have and I multiply it with 1,000. This could make my life much easier and probably yours as well. If you have $1,000 available and multiply this with 1,000, I believe that this could solve some financial issue for the one or the other. Of course, if you're ugly, you would have to multiply it with much more than 1,000. My name is Marco Stan, and this is what I decided to do. I decided to 1000x my money. This is not a joke. I know what you may be thinking. What is this guy talking about? How should this work? This is not possible. Well, I made a detailed video where I laid out my plan. And some clever folks might even want to look at this plan and copy it and do exactly what I do. This is just a little hint on the side. You have two options. You leave, you forget what you have seen. You do whatever you're doing and you hope that somehow you get some other results. Good luck with that. Or you click the link below the video. You enter your email address because I'm not showing this to everybody. You at least watch my video on how I plan to 1000x my money. The choice is yours. Make the right choice. Join me. See what a different future you could have. See at least how I intend, how I plan to do the 1000x. So click on the link below, enter your email address, and I see you on the other side. Your Marco Stan.